Welcome. Getting it going a little bit early to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show live stream. Going to be doing a little impromptu here. I know it's Sunday night. Hopefully some of y'all are chilling, able to relax a bit before the week, but we do have a game all the way on Thursday. So I wanted to look at some of this early stuff here, at least get a look at what these lines are like and some of the stuff for these series futures as well. So I put a video out on Saturday night. Hopefully some of y'all got to see it. And I'll go through a couple of things, and those bets are going to be running through on the bottom line as well, per usual. I'm going to start putting stuff in the up next column so guys can jump in the comments, bring your bets. We'll go through what you guys want to look at as well. I need to pull that up real quick to put everything down, but I'll start sharing my screen in one sec. And before that, while we let people jump in here, because I'm also a little bit early right now, I just wanted to get it going. So I'm going to go ahead and start with some of the stuff I've got. Let me put it up on the bottom line as well, so you guys can check that out. And then we're going to go through some matchup stuff. I want to at least help everybody with some of the stuff that I'm looking at right now. I only have 2 player props down for game 1 right now. And then I've got 2 series futures prices with just a little bit on it, because basically this is a 50-50 series to me. I feel like it should be a lot closer to even money for both these teams, maybe like a minus 120 plus 105 kind of situation. But we've got it at minus 210 plus 188 for the Mavericks to win, right? So it's pretty uneven. So just that alone is why I'm feeling good about taking the Mavs on this one, just with a unit to see what happens, to be honest. It's not too much right now. It's something I'm willing to take out of my bankroll and put in, because I think this, like I said, should be a lot closer to even money essentially for both teams here, a little bit more 50-50 based on the odds, but it's not. So that's why I'm taking that. And then, like I said, I do have another one for Luka. So I'll go through that stuff real quick with you guys, but do start jumping into the comments. Let me know what you guys want to look at as well, so we can take a look at some of that stuff. And then and I'll get right into it once I start sharing my screen and all that good stuff. So I'm putting up the 2 bets that I have on the bottom line here for right now, and I'll go through these futures plays as well, and we'll keep it moving. So, but good to have everybody in here, man. Good to see you, Nate and Stan. We're in here a little bit early. Got Luka Stone Cold, Luka points over, and Horford unders. Take a look at that as well. Yeah, let me put Horford in here. The thing about Horford would be, if Kristaps is not a full go, then you're going to see Al close to 30 minutes, if not quite right around that, if not more. If you got Kristaps at 25 minutes in this game, they had some double Al and Kristaps lineups that they played against the Mavs in the regular season. I wouldn't be surprised to see that in here as well. Let me put Luka points in here. I've got Luka for the rebounds right now. That's scrolling on the bottom line. But I think I'm going to get a 30-point bet in for Luka in some fashion here in a minute. And then, yeah, we'll take a look at both those dudes. What's good, Top Dunk? Good to have you in here, man. Let me go through a couple of these things real quick. Also want to mention we got the Discord live. If you guys still don't have that, jump in there. Also started the Outlier partnership. So if you're interested in getting 7 days risk-free for Outlier, so you can kind of check out if you like it or not. It's been really helpful so far for me. Obviously, I'm using a couple of different tools, but Outlier has become really the go-to sort of homepage for me as I'm looking through this stuff. But let's get into a couple of the bets that I have. Like I said, I just went right into it with the Mavs. I took them to win because I get plus 188. If they win game 1, that's going down. If they win one of game 1 and game 2, that's going down as well. So plus 188 was a good number to take it at. Luka MVP just goes right along with it. It's just 2 plus 210 versus Tatum, which is minus 150, I think is what it is right now. It's been fluctuating a little bit as people bet on those MVPs. But Luka at plus 210, man, honestly, it probably won't happen, but there's a world where he wins the MVP, even if his team loses in 7 games, a la LeBron James, when he basically averaged a triple-double. So those are the first 2 bets. And then the other ones for game 1, I did take Luka on the boards, but like I said, I'll be going through some stuff that will kind of point towards him getting the points as well moving forward. 30 should be about what he averages in this series. And then Peyton P, I got an under for him because I don't think he's going to be really long for this series, to be honest. We already saw his numbers decline a ton in the last 2 games of last series, which is going to be a lot more like what we see in this series where, the Celtics they can't really afford to just be playing dudes for the sake of getting them minutes and experience. And that's a lot of what you saw from Peyton P in the last series and the last 2, well, really every series up until this point. And then in the Indy series, they wanted to close things out. They wanted to get it done. So they basically just didn't play him in the second half of these last couple games, didn't play him at all in the fourth quarter of the last 2 against Indy. And I think that's going to be the trend that we see is his minutes staying below 15 moving forward. So I don't like him to get very much against this squad. Plus, if you leave him on the floor, Luka will find him and he will make sure that that's his matchup. And then he will score. every time that he gets the ball against Peyton Pritchard. If he can find him on a switch of any kind, then yeah, Peyton P is just going to get completely barbecued against Luka. There's not very many guys that can stop Luka, and 6'1" Peyton Pritchard is certainly not on the list of guys that can. So taking the under for him for every reason that I just mentioned. And just going back to this real quick, you're going to see Luka isn't really going to guard one person. He guarded a lot of Drew Holiday during the regular season when they faced off, but really all that means is he's standing in the corner waiting for guys to switch up and down. He's not moving from his spot on the corner of the baseline, which leaves him really open. That's why we took him for rebounds in the last couple games of last series, now that he's healthy especially, right? So let's look at a couple of those matchups real quick while people are jumping in. What's good, Stan? Got Magic Rain. Looking at, what are you looking at here? Let me see real quick. Looking at from 5.5 points for Pritchard, under or over. Thanks, man. Yeah. I went with everything because if Peyton P is going to stand in the corner and hit like a 3 or 2, it's going to get a little bit close, but I'd be going under for everything Peyton Pritchard. Not going to be looking at anything other than that. Kat Lee wants to look at, we got to look at first quarter stuff. I know Jew Boogie was in there talking about that in the Discord. Let me put in first quarter. I'll just put first quarter bets in general. I know we're going to be looking at probably Brown and Tatum and Luka, right? That's what, and I also like KP first quarter stuff. That's a strong lean that I have right now. It's at 3.5 points. I believe Trey in the Discord was talking about that as well. So I want to check that out. But Cody's asking about Luka PR over. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get me to take much under for Luka at this point, unless it's maybe like turnovers. So we'll look at everything Luka here in a sec. I'm going to bring up my screen right now to get into that stuff. So let me add a couple more guys in here as well. Jaylen Brown, I kind of want to look at him for the MVP. I'm also not sure if anybody's ever won conference finals MVP directly before they won finals MVP, but I'm confident it's happened. Let's do, I kind of want to look at that. So let me start sharing my screen so you guys can see what I'm looking at and start going from there. But I do think that Jaylen Brown is likely to get this finals MVP as well, mostly because if you look back at when Iggy was guarding LeBron in that finals against the Dubs, right? And Iggy got the MVP over Steph because Steph didn't really score that many points. Let me just Google it real quick. Has an NBA player won conference finals MVP and finals MVP same season? Let's see what that brings up for me real quick. Let me see if there's anything trustworthy here. Okay, so 8 players have won. Oh, no, this is regular season MVP. If anybody has that information too, you could just help me out because I started to look for it and then I got sidetracked with other shit. Let me see if StatMuse has it. NBA players, finals MVP, and conference finals MVP same season. This is going to be a little bit more of a chill show too, y'all. Like this is, we got some time here. So hopefully I can get everything that you guys want to look at and keep it going. Kareem won the finals MVP or once in the, this isn't going to help me much. I got to look at who also won the finals MVP. I'll look that stuff up a little bit later. I don't think it's as crazy or outlandish as you might think, but if Jaylen Brown is the one guarding Luka Doncic, plus he gets a bunch of points, I think that's a pretty good look. You're going to see here, I'm going to show you Boston defense is going to be, let me move this real quick. Boston defense is going to be as such, right? You're going to see a lot of Jason Tatum guarding the centers. So keep that in mind for this defensive matchup. But then you've got Jaylen Brown guarding Luka, a little bit of Drew guarding the combination of Luka and Kyrie. And then you've got Derek White kind of roaming. They're a little bit switchable, the guards, but really like if Jaylen Brown is able to sort of limit Luka and then go ahead and keep going with on offense the way he's been going, I mean, it's going to be harder for him to get to the rim, but if he's hitting some threes, I think he might be all right. I want to see what he is real quick. I'm going to pull up my prop finder to see what his best price is for that MVP. Yeah, for sure, Stan. I got a couple parlays I want to look at too. So if you guys have some bets, we might try to find some of that stuff. And I want to put Porzingis in here for you too, Stan. So if you got that, I got Porzingis. I'm not really like I think he's going to be good to go. So I'm not too worried about that with him. Let's see. I got Jaylen Brown up. Let's see if I can get no, I don't have awards here. I'm just going to pull up the DraftKings to start. We'll look at a couple of different books, but I think he was at like 10-1 was what I was seeing for Jaylen Brown. Let me pull that up. Hold on. Awards, finals MVP. No, it's plus 650 on DK. He might be a little bit better on some other books, but it'll probably be around 650 to plus 800 will be the number for Jaylen Brown. Kind of worth it, kind of not worth it, but Yeah, Brown is going to be the one guarding Luka. So that'll be what we see here from those matchups. And just to finish the point about matchups real quick, I think the interesting things to keep in mind are Jason Tatum. If he is guarding a guy like Daniel Gafford, the point of that is to be able to switch on those pick and rolls with Luka, right? They don't want Al Horford or Kristaps necessarily getting caught having to guard Luka one-on-one on the perimeter. So if you keep Tatum on the guy who's going to be screening for Luka, which will be the centers, then you have a better chance of being able to switch better. But obviously that means now you've got Jaylen Brown on Gafford too. If those two guys can do a good job on defense, they'll be fine. And then you'll see probably a lot of Kristaps on spot up shooters like PJ Washington. That does probably mean more rebounds for a guy like Jason Tatum, even Jaylen Brown, over a guy like Kristaps Porzingis. So I think that trend will continue where you see Tatum leading the team in rebounding and Brown not far behind him. Maybe you get some centers in there from time to time, but it's going to be a group rebounding effort for sure for Boston. And then on the other side, it's going to be a little bit more of the normal stuff that you'd see. Derrick Jones Jr. will be more likely on Tatum with Brown and Washington, kind of the matchup there for the defense for Dallas. And then Luka is going to be guarding Drew. But really the thing about Luka is going to be, if you look at the way he gets his rebounds, just going to be standing on the baseline and not really, and just switching off, right? And letting everybody just kind of cycle through and not really going up too high. So Luka rebounds is a bet that I already have in for those of y'all that came in a little bit late, because I do like him to be standing down there and get those easy boards against this team as well. Stan's got Derek Lively as a bet as I get back into the comments real quick. So let's start to look at what you guys are talking about, and we'll find some stuff here. I kind of want to start with the first quarter stuff since I do have that bet up for Luka. So let me kick it with that and go from there. But let's pull up one of these dudes that we're talking about here for first quarter. That's first half. Let's get first quarter points in here. I'm just going to make it the over so it's easy to look at. Who's got the highest line? Obviously, Luka, 8.5. You can get Tatum, 6.5 right now, eh? But Luka first quarter is going to be one that people want to look at, I'm sure, because our man just scored 20 freaking points in the first quarter of that conference finals game, right? So that has to be looked at. What I would say for the first quarter stuff for Luka is I want to see how they come out, and sometimes they do come out a bit slow. And 8.5 in the playoffs, if you notice here, since the Clippers series, went over a bunch of times, but then really did not get it against the Thunder, and then had a really good series in the first quarter against Minnie, going over in 3 of 5, including just going bananas in that last game. But the key thing is the volume for him, and he's playing about 10 minutes per first quarter, and that's the thing that scares me. If you look at these first 2 games against Minnie, he came out after just 8.5 minutes or so in the first quarters. So in a game one where, like, I know he's going to come out strong, but I don't know that he's going to come out firing right away in the first quarter. I'm a little bit off of that first quarter stuff at 8.5 for Luka. If we're looking at other supporting stuff for the field goal attempts, I'm going to pull that up real quick. Let me get the... Why won't it? I guess sometimes in the first quarter it struggles to give you the first quarter stuff. Let me just put it up in StatMuse. Luka first quarter stats in this playoffs, and see what we look like here. Let me see first quarter game log. So yeah, so here we go. So this is gonna be easy to look at. The amount of shots that we're looking at here, probably about well, actually I can just go back real quick and see, because it'll give me that. So the field goal attempts in the first quarter, 6.8 to get 9 points. 3 threes, goddamn. And that last game probably did us in a little bit. But in 17 games, 10 minutes per quarter, averaging 9.6. So it would seem like pretty decent. What are the odds here real quick? The under is minus 113. The over minus 113 as well. Looks like that's only available on FanDuel right now. It's tough. I mean, Kyrie did his thing in the first quarter of the last series, right? Kind of taking on Ant. And there could be some of that as well for Kyrie, where this is the one first quarter that he kind of does his thing overall, because once again, it's not like anybody called him out, but last series, Ant called him out. This series, he's going up against Boston. How has Kyrie done against Boston? Let me see real quick. StatMuse. Let's just pull up on StatMuse real quick. Kyrie Irving stats versus Boston on the road last 2 seasons. 19.5. So he's played twice on the road in the last 2 seasons, right? 2019, like, it's not like he's just going off, but that's a lot of shots too. So if he's going to keep taking those amount of shots, yeah, for Kyrie, but it's the first quarter, I don't have like a strong feel for it for Luka. Like I can't like get inside his head and say, I think he's going to come out firing in that first quarter. So it's a little bit scary for me. Oh, my bad. Thanks, Larry, dude. Jesus. Fucking up. I've just been looking at on over here on StatMuse and whatnot. That's on me to keep you guys into what I'm looking at. So this is mostly from right here is basically his first quarter stuff, right? Since he got in the playoffs, he's over in, this is 11 of 20, but if you dumb this down by 3, then that's 8 for 17, right? Which is not incredible. 8 for 17. They're less than 50% of the time. I know he went off in this one, but he was also hurt a little bit over here. I don't have a strong lean to give me anything for the first quarter stuff. I do want to see how they come out. If he goes under in this game, I think I'm coming back to an over for him in the first quarter. But I think that's more of a pass for me on the first quarter stuff for Luka. If we look at Tatum at 6.5 and Brown at 5.5, question becomes, is Tatum still playing? Yeah, he's playing all 12 minutes of these first quarters. I don't know what happened in this one, 9.9 minutes, where he didn't play the whole quarter. I have to go back and look at that box score. But in the first quarter of these last 2, I know he did his thing. It's only 6.5. That's crazy. It's minus 122, and it looks like FanDuel is still the only site up right now with the. Why doesn't DraftKings have the first quarter stuff? Because they also give you alt first quarter lines on DK, which I really like. So let me look at that real quick. Points, if I go all the way to the bottom, I got first quarter points, just not pulling through right now. So more importantly than even Tatum, I kind of like the idea that they want to get Kristaps going, and he just needs to make 2 buckets in the first quarter for Kristaps. And that's definitely something he did head to head a lot. Let me go back and look at Kristaps head to head stuff first quarter. This has him at 4.5, but on DraftKings, you can get him at 3.5 or minus 108. And I would say they do like to get him involved early. If you look at, I want to look at the field goal attempts for him in the first quarter too. I got to pull that up in a minute, but yeah, I mean, this is 7 minutes. Yeah, I understand. Well, this is when he got hurt too. So in these last 10, which included some in the playoffs here, his minutes are not as guaranteed, but the field goal attempts look pretty good. Let me look at Kristaps Porzingis first quarter stats in this playoffs. So 4.8 points per game, 3.5 field goal attempts. I mean, if he takes 4 field goals and he needs to make 2, I really like that. The scary part would be obviously if he comes out pretty early in the first quarter, because he's got 7 minutes here, 6.5 minutes there. Is he going to take that many field goals? He did go over in these games and then under in the Miami one over here. This is when he got hurt too, right? Yeah. So this is when he got hurt. No, this is when he got hurt. My bad. But he's still getting the 4 points. Like, I think that's better play than most of these for KP in the first quarter. I think that's a good look. So that's kind of what I prefer. I'm going to put that in right now as a lean. I'm going to get most of these up later in terms of the bets. So if you want to see what the final plays are, that'll be in YouTube. And then I'll be throwing it up in Discord as well. Kristaps over 3.5, 1Q points. I can't believe that still hasn't gone up yet. But keep in mind, people are not betting very much on the finals just yet. I'm going to start looking at some more WNBA tomorrow for sure. Maybe some MLB, but most likely W tomorrow on Monday. But for, I wanted to get at least like an early look at some of these lines and some of these futures prices too. That's kind of where I'm at. The first quarter of the first game is not something I'm really trying to bet on, especially because I could easily see guys like Derek White and Drew Holiday getting involved hella early in the first quarter. And other guys taking a little bit of a back seat. I mean, Jaylen Brown has not been doing his thing first quarter as of late either. 2 unders, continues to not play. Yeah, he's the first sub between Tatum and Brown coming out in that first quarter. So I'm staying off of the JB first quarter stuff for right now. I want to see how these teams come out in game 1 before I just start firing on first quarter bets, to be honest. But KP, because of the psychology of getting him involved early, getting him some touches in the game where he hasn't played very much in 3-4 weeks, I can see that being a priority for the team for sure. So that's the only one I feel comfortable with the points is KP, and I'll probably put that in here in a little bit. So let's get to a couple other things that you guys brought up and keep it moving. Horford was a look. My thing with Horford that I'm scared to go against him with, and I know the look was to see if we can fade some Horford stuff here moving forward. I understand that with and without Kristaps, there's definitely something to that for Al, right? This is not what I want first. I just want points in general. All right. So I'm going to go to Horford points and hone in on some of the stuff for him. So he's at 7.5 points for plus money. And I understand, once again, that it's with and without Kristaps, but let's see about with KP on the season. And let's start just doing it simply right up here in StatMuse. StatMuse, obviously, if you guys are not super familiar with it, really good for the splits and these really simple things where I just want to get really quick info at my fingertips. So I'm looking at Al Horford with and without Porzingis this season. And not all tell all be all. This is regular season stuff, but like there's obviously going to be an uptick for Al without him. At the same time, like the rebounds don't go up that much. The minutes go up by 5. That's noticeable. But let's say he plays 25 minutes, right? What are his numbers right now in these playoffs? At the and 25 minutes was during the regular season without Kristaps. In the playoffs here, in these, let's just put it up here. Al Horford with and without him. Let's do Al Horford this playoffs. 9.9 points, 30.4 minutes. So if you dumb that down to 20, let's put it into the little baby model, as I call it, since it's super high level, but it's at least helpful to see about the price that we're paying for stuff. So if you're not familiar with this is just basically going to be to make sure that we're getting the best price available and that we're not getting gypped by the books here. So I'm going to pull up this little baby model available in the Discord as well. There's a link to it with some instructions about how to use it. Really simple stuff. You don't really got to like do too much here, but let's put in Papa Al. I want to put the points in for now, and that is at 7.5. Right, the under odds for the 7.5 points are going to be minus 119 and plus 106. All right, plus the minus 119 for the under, 106 for the over. The minutes average has been 30.4. The prop average has been 9.9? Sorry, going up here. Al in these, 9.9 points in 30.4 minutes. And that includes some games with Kristaps. So keep that in mind. But I'm not so certain that like Al's minutes are just going to fall off a cliff when you still don't know if Kristaps is going to be here for 25 minutes a game, 28, 30 minutes a game. We're not totally sure yet. And I think we can bank on Al Horford getting about 25 minutes in this game. So with that as his projection, and I don't think RotoWire has any projections up yet, but let me project him with 25 minutes and see what that does for us. So the under odds at minus 119, I've got to add the probability in here. So I'm going to pull up my easy calculator so I don't have to do odds in my head. Oh, this is not my calculator. This is my calculator. And I'm going to put the odds in here at minus 119. That's a 54% implied probability to the under. And then the over at plus 106. Sorry, let me pull this over here. Plus 106 implied probability is 49% if you round up. So 49 here. It still gives us a 14% edge to the over. And you want this to be at least 10% before you feel comfortable like this is telling you to take a bet, right? So at over 14% for the probability for Al, even if he gets 25 minutes, which I think is a fair projection for Al Horford. 25 minutes, I think that's a low ball projection for Al in the first game. That's where I'm at with it. So I like the 7.5 points, to be honest. The thing is, Al's still going to be pulled out when it comes to the rebounds, because I see you talking about the rebound stand. I think you think he's getting at least 28 if he's healthy now. You think KP is getting 28, right, Stan? But honestly, like they could both play 28 minutes. There were a lot of minutes. I want to show you what I mean. There were a lot of minutes in the game that these two teams played against each other where they were on the floor together. Let me just go into that real quick. I'm going to pull up the box score from the only game that matters between these two teams during the regular season that you can really rely upon to like give you some inclination of what's going to happen here. That was in March. It was just that one game. So I'm inside the Boston Advanced Stats page on NBA.com. I'm going into advanced box scores during the regular season, and I'm just filtering this so it's just versus Dallas versus. So this is really helpful to be able to just go in and find that box score real quick. So Jan 22nd, there still wasn't any Gafford or PJ Washington around. March 1st, there was. So I'm going in here and I'm just showing you that there was a lot of minutes in here where Al and Kristaps were on the floor together. I'm just going to go inside of Al's shots real quick, kind of see. Hold on. So right here, Al and Kristaps on the floor together. Right. This is he's going to take a shot down here in a minute, but you can see that they're playing a lot together, still on the floor together right here. No, actually, this is Peyton P in here, but not Kristaps. My bad. But you get my point. Like without getting too far into it, there's a lot of minutes that these two dudes are on the floor together, so they could both easily get 28. My main point that I want to make to you guys is like, and I appreciate you answering, Stan. the point I want to make to you guys is that like they're not exclusive in terms of their minutes in this game and in this series in general. They will go double big in that sense because of the fact that they can both shoot, so they're not really too worried about it. Also really helps to have two rim protectors when you've got Luka there. One of the beautiful parts about having both these dudes on the floor on defense is that you can step up and guard Luka a little bit more on the pick and roll. And then the other dude, the other center, can hang back around the baseline and be there to try to block away the lob that Luka might throw to Gafford. So I think you're going to see a lot less of like the Celtics guarding the corner as much, to be honest, because that was a big downfall for Minnesota. Was like they were worried about Josh Green and Derrick Jones Jr. shooting in the corners, which left them for the susceptible to the lob the whole time. I don't think you can give that to Luka as often as they did. So I'm putting Allen here as a lean for the points. The finishing the point of what you were talking about, Stan, for the PR for Luka. I'm sorry, for Papa Al here. The only thing that scares me about the boards, and it looks like they're actually pretty low, right? Are they 5.5? I don't hate that. 5.5 is a good number. They dropped a good amount, but they should. Like if this was 7.5, I would for sure go under. Because if Al is guarding a guy like PJ Washington, and I'll just remind you real quick that that's how I currently have this projected, is that Al and Kristaps are going to be guarding, move this real quick, are going to be guarding PJ Washington a lot more so than they will be guarding Daniel Gafford, because the Celtics like to deploy Jason Tatum onto the screener for who's going to be setting that screen in the pick and roll with Luka. So with that in mind, like Jason Tatum rebounds a little bit more so than Kristaps or even Al Horford. So that's why I don't feel the need to add the points in there. But I do think Al will continue to be the beneficiary of open looks in the corner. I'm going to show you props madness real quick, and shout out Pips, because if you are looking for WNBA stuff in here now, this is already in here. But if you look at where they're susceptible, so he's got this up right here where you can see where Al Horford is shooting a lot from. 26% of his shots are coming from one of the corners, right? If you look at where this team is susceptible for the screen again, my bad. I got it this time. Stand by. Didn't even mess it up. Yes, I did. But props madness here. I'm on Al Horford. This is a really great one too. Another solid tool. Link is in the description of the video, as are all the tools that I'm using here. All the links are in the description. You can see here, this is the opponent defense, and this is where Dallas struggles the most, is in the corners where they give up like their bottom 10 in terms of allowing threes to go in from the corners. That's where Al is shooting 26% of his shots. If we make this just the playoffs, still about 23, still about a quarter of his shots coming from the corners. So I think he's going to be good for some of these points. What are his threes at real quick? I don't hate 2 threes at plus 110 either for Al. In the playoffs, he's averaging about 1.9. That is in the like 30 minutes per game. I expect this to go between 25 and 28 for Al again. But they're not going to just dissipate. His minutes aren't just going to disappear entirely, right? You can still bank on him playing a bunch. So let me put that in here as a lean for right now. And once again, all the leans are going to be finalized and thrown into the comments of the YouTube video. And I'm going to be going in Discord. If you're not in the Discord yet, link is in the description of the video as well. But I know we got a lot of homies from there. I'm going to go over 7.5 points. That's plus 106 on FD. So just going to hold that as a lean for right now. Also got the Kristaps first quarter stuff. And all this is floating on the bottom line if you guys need to take a look at it. I think you asked me one more thing. Yeah, I mean, it looks fine. The rebounds at 5.5 don't scare me as much. So, yeah, if you want to add the rebounds, because he'll have at least one good rebounding game in here in this series. So I'm with it. I like that you're calling him Gagford. You like the over for Gafford. Yeah, let me put Gafford in here because I do like both he and Lively to be pretty good in this series. But that's where I'm at with Al. I also think the threes are good for Papa Al, if you like that. You like that? So keep that in mind. Let's look at some more Luka stuff. I think we got to put this together. I wonder if this parlay is still there that I put up a little bit earlier today. And then I didn't give it out last night, but I found it a little bit more this morning. And I think we got to find a way to take Luka to get 30 points, first of all. Like the Celtics, if you go back and watch Luka's shots, and this is, I'm in the box score for the game in March that these two teams played, right? So I'm going to use the ability to see the shots that Luka took and then go through some of this stuff with you guys, because what I want to show you is that this Boston defense is playing the same way that Minnesota played. And we all know how that worked for Luka against Minnesota. This is the same exact way that Gobert was playing Luka. Look at Kristaps back up on this boom, 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 back up, because he's got to guard the screener, right? So this means Luka's now, look at where Luka's at. You think Luka's going to miss anything around there, right? Like this is going to be points, 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 points. I think he's going to be good for the points once again, more so than the assists in this one. But look, this is exactly the same shit. Even with Jaylen Brown on him, like KP, okay, he sells out a little bit more on that one, then backs up. But Luka knows the whole time that even when KP's right, like, hold up. Even when KP is right here, he knows that even if he's right here, he's like faking towards him. And then Luka already knows he's backing up. This man's already, he's like, oh, free throw line extended. Boom. Right there. He's like, I'm taking a 2. Now, he missed it, but he took 25 shots. And if that's the kind of defense that they're playing, he ain't going to stop taking that many shots. Now, the other 20% of his shots are isolation. And if you put him in isolation, he's going to be hunting Derek White. I mean, Drew Holiday might be a little stronger than Derek White, but is he strong enough to guard Luka? This is in transition. Let's look at another one real quick. Step back jump shots, probably going to be off a pick and roll. Now it's PJ Washington coming up. It's going to be the same stuff, right? Okay, so now Kristaps still backing up. So this means that everybody's watching PJ. He's not going to bother passing that ball. He's going to keep shooting it. So with that in mind, unless they change everything up entirely, I still think that that's going to be where we see the Boston Celtics sort of just like pick their poison and say, all right, Luka, go ahead and make those shots. We're not going to be coming out for you. He's just cooking, man. I mean, there's nothing you could tell me that would be like, you should fade Luka. They're going to blitz him. They're going to do this. There's no defense that would make me scared that Luka's not getting his points. So one of the things that I liked, and I think this is already up at 31.5 for Luka's points. Let me pull this up right now. Yeah, he's at 31.5 minus 104. I think you can get a better number for him too. So Luka points. Nope, 30. Yeah, you can get 30.5 on some of these other poo-poo books that I don't like as much. But 31.5 at minus 102. Pretty good number in the playoffs. The 28.8 in the playoffs doesn't bother me, because he's let me go back to Luka. Essentially because he was hurt, right? Like he was clearly hurt at the beginning of these playoffs. So I'm not quite as concerned that there was a bunch of unders over here as opposed to these overs over here. As soon as he got out of the OKC series, where, by the way, is there a better defender in the league against him than Lou Dort? I don't really think so. And even Luka has said that Lou Dort is the dude that bothers him the most, right? I like the rebounds for him. That's already a bet rolling on the bottom line. But we got to figure out a way to take the points for Luka. And maybe he comes close and doesn't get it in the first game of the series. But for Luka, what we did to hit in game, 5 against the Timberwolves, we hit Luka to get 30 plus. Actually, we hit him at 25 plus, which was nice. But now we got to take him at 30 plus. We can take him at 3 threes. Let me see here. I mean, he's going to keep hitting these threes. He's going to keep having the same looks. Like, I really can't stress that enough. I'm super projecting that he's going to look a lot like he did in this Minnesota series. Everything, the defense and everything is going to look really similar. 3 threes is now minus 550. That's crazy. And then the rebounds, you can take 8, you can take 10, whatever. If you put 8 up here and you take the minus 210, plus 128 is a pretty good number for Luka to score 30, 3 plus threes, and to record 8 plus boards, right? I like all that stuff. What's his core 3-point prop? 3.5 for minus 178. That I'm not cool with. However you want to configure points, rebounds, threes. That's how I'm feeling about Luka in this series. Is those are the things that he's going to be excelling at. Hell yeah, bro. Good to have the other Stan. We're not going to call you Stan 2. Everybody's equal here, but we'll call you Stan S and Stan Dub. Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, no doubt. I'm going to take a look at what you got here too, Stan. Took the halftime under 110.5 for minus 108 on DK like 2 years. Yeah. Come out real slow. They're going to come out slow. This whole series is probably going to be pretty slow, but let's see. What's good, Mike? Gang. Plus 128. Yeah, I think I still like this. Honestly, I'm gonna at least throw a half a unit on that for for game 1 here. I'll throw that as a bet that I'm making, and then put it into the Discord for Josh bets as well. But I'm taking Luka SGP, Luka 30 plus / 8 plus Rebs / and I gotta put the points in here. My bad. And then add the 3 plus threes. I think that's a good look. I mean, I'm not scared of the threes at all. Man's just going to keep shooting them, right? That is plus 128 on FD. That was much better than it was on, and I'm putting 0.5 on that. That was much better than it was on DraftKings the other day. And DraftKings was really just the milestone bets that they make you hit was a little bit annoying. So, but I think Luka keeps scoring, like I was just showing with all the video right there in terms of Luka's stats. So, Luka's shot selection rather. Let me go back. My bad. So yeah, let me keep it moving with that. And I'll be going live here on Thursday as well ahead of the game. We'll take a look at some updated stuff. In the interim days, I'll be looking at some more W and MLB and getting videos out for that stuff with you guys. But let's keep moving through a couple more here. Take Luka down. Let's look at, I also want to look at Drew. Let me pull up Drew next. I don't think anybody brought up Drew, but the thing about Drew is, once again, he's going to be in the corner. And that's going to be a lot of where Luka's just sort of susceptible. So I think he's going to keep scoring on Luka, honestly. And he's going to be happy to just go into that corner and wait for the ball over there and then just be firing. So is he at 12.5? I know he was at 13.5 as well for Drew on the points. Yeah, 13.5 is a little bit better money, obviously, but 12.5 at minus 115 is still very bettable. And that's on DraftKings is the best number for Drew. Let me make sure this is accurately pulling through. I'm on DK directly right now, and Drew is he's at 12.5 minus 115. All right, cool. So we're good. I can still trust what I'm seeing on Outlier. I'll just take a quick sec to mention it once again. If you don't have Outlier, you can get a risk-free 7 days. I don't know what you mean by risk-free. I got to figure that out. But basically, you can cancel at any time, and you can get it free for 7 days and see if this helps you with your bets. You can wait right for the next game. For game 1 to start on Thursday. So if you want to, but whenever you want to start doing research, you could do it for free using this program right here. That's going to pull together a lot of key stats that you're going to want to have, right? So that's the thing for Drew. If we look at the head-to-head for Homie this season, so in this game, he only played a few minutes, 26.8, because it was a blowout, right? So he wasn't quite as needed. And I believe he was even come back from a little bit of injury. But the other game where he played 38 on the 22nd, different looks, but the points were big time there. 17 in that game. He's going to be taking a lot of shots that are going to be pretty uncontested, to be honest, because Luka's not coming out that hard to play that strong a defense. He's been playing a little bit better in the playoffs, but I think that and the PRA is still probably a good look for Drew Holiday here. If we look at him basically in the playoffs, struggled at first, starting right here with Miami. Wasn't doing much. This is PRA. Got close to this. Is it 23.5? Yeah, 23.5 for even money. Was getting close, hovering right around it, and then just kind of took off in the Cleveland series eventually when he started to take his shots, actually, instead of just kind of watching. Then he got super involved in every way. Had one down game. This was the last game where they blew him out, right? They still won by like almost 30. So he didn't really need to do much in that one. Nobody did. And then came out against Indy and was just firing and has crushed Indy, to be fair. But once again, I think this is going to be kind of similar to the way that they are going to ignore him in the corner. And that's what we've seen from him consistently. Let's go into this box score real quick from the last game for Drew and look at. So he took 6 shots. Oh, this is not the right game. Sorry, hold up. Oh, this is the right game. So this is the blowout. This is the only one that we can really use. He took 6 shots in 26.5 minutes. I just want to show you a couple of those real quick because it's kind of what I was saying about Drew being in the corner and just getting a lot of easy looks. Now, he got hot from 3. Don't get me wrong. 3 for 3 from really didn't take much else. But there's a reason that he's taking all these shots. Like, Luka's responsible for that. Now, that was once he got that, I'm pretty sure he was just like in go mode, right? So that's the thing about Drew too, is once he hits one, he's a microwave at that point. He does heat up. But look, he's like not afraid of Luka's defense. He's just going in the corner and pulling. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that, man. I really, really do. I don't know why shit would change. Here he is against Luka once again. He's just like, this dude can't guard me. What are we doing? So he's not gonna be scared. He's gonna keep pulling, and he would have taken a bunch more shots in this game if this game was close at all. But it was like a 15-point game going into the fourth quarter or whatever. So there wasn't much need to keep going. But look at the aggression is what I like. So that's why I still like Drew. I like him on the points. I like him on a lot of stuff. So keep that in mind. And yeah, it's a good point for Drew. Or for anybody, like a lot of stuff is going to change with Kristaps back, but I don't know that it's going to impact Drew Holiday too much. I'm going to do put Drew in here as well. Drew Holiday with and without Kristaps Porzingis on StatMuse. Let's see what I'm saying. Like, so his rebounds actually are higher with Kristaps. His assists are like 0.5. His points are by about a point per game. He takes one more shot without KP. So like there's not too much of a difference. This is 17.8 plus 5 is like 22-ish. He's at about 22 PRA without Kristaps. I'm sorry, with him. Without him, 13.3. This is 17.8. About the same, right? It's like one more PRA without Kristaps than with him. Drew's not necessarily someone that's impacted by it, but you're right to like keep in mind, like if you're toggling this stuff on Outlier, you do want to keep in mind like this is without KP. So some of this stuff might be impacted a bit by not having KP. That is a good point. We want to see how that works. But at the same time, like Al was out there. Al was taking threes. They might have a little bit higher usage for Kristaps, but there was a lot of stuff that mirrored it. I think Drew's going to have a really big series, to be honest, on offense. So I'm kind of with that. I think I just don't know if I want to take the PRA or the points yet. Necessarily, yeah, and it's a good look, Mike. So that's when things got out of control. It was like a 10-point lead at the half, and then in the third quarter they just kind of kept going. What's good, Milk? Good to have you in here, bro. They just kind of kept going and got it. So yeah, good point, Mike. If you have the ability to watch these games, I know Mike put this in the Mike Rants channel. So if you guys are in the Discord or if you're not, jump in there. Link in the description of the video. But if you are in there already, check out Mike's Rants, the channel that we have in there. I like what you had to put in there, Mike. I didn't respond to it yet, but I think it's a really good look in terms of the way that you were looking at the shot selection and all that. But yeah, so for Drew, I'm going to put this in here as a lean for right now as well. I'll be, finalizing a lot of stuff. If I feel the need to pull the trigger on some of these bets before Thursday, then I'll definitely make sure to put that in the description, or I'm sorry, in the Discord, and I'll put it in the pinned comment of this video. But we'll be coming back and probably pulling the trigger on a couple more things. So Drew's another strong lean at 23.5 PRA. I'm doing the over on that. Haven't bet that yet, like I said, but that is a strong lean for me with Drew. I like that. You like that? All right, let's keep it moving here. I'll take a look at Gafford for a minute, and we'll just obviously along with Gafford comes Derek Lively. Interested to know what you have to say about Gafford, Mike, especially because you dubbed him Gagford, and now everybody's using it. So, and I was just talking about this. Yeah, I don't like the rebounds for Al. It's for Al, so I don't want to have to mess with the boards for him, mostly because one, he's going to be guarding PJ Washington most likely when he's out there, or someone that's not Lively or Gafford. That's what the Stees have been doing, is putting a lot more Jason Tatum on the center, and whoever is the screen guy in the pick and roll, that's who Tatum guards, so that it's easily switchable onto Luka, and you're not getting Kristaps or Al Horford out on an island versus Luka. But the stuff for Gafford and Lively is going to be really interesting. Let's start with them and pull up some stuff for them. So Gafford's 8.5. Lively's you can also get 7.5, I believe, for Lively, right? Yeah. So let's look at Gafford overs real quick. Obviously, been going over a ton. Interesting will be to see how they really handle the pick and roll a little bit differently than Minnesota, but I think they're going to play it hella similar to the way what we saw from Minnesota when it comes to that pick and roll stuff. I was just showing some of the video of Kristaps receding, and backing up all the way to allow to not necessarily get out and guard Luka, but back up and try to guard the lob. So maybe they'll be a bit better at it, but Luka or Kristaps is going to have to be really good against the lobs in this, and defending the rim to keep Gafford and company out of there. Gafford was also hurt at the beginning of the playoffs over here against the Clippers in all these games, and started to get healthier after that pinky was dislocated, and then really has been insanely consistent for like the last, basically 10-ish games. This is 10 right here, right? So really the last 12 games, he's been super consistent, going over in 10 of 12 over here in the points. And the field goals have been in these last 12 as well, have been higher than we've seen over here. Let me pull him up. Daniel Gafford, last 12 games. So in the last 12, 11, 18, he's averaging about 7 field goals in 23.4 minutes, or 23.7 minutes. So I still like the points for Gafford. I'm not going to lie to you. At 8.5 for plus money, when he's been averaging 11 since he got healthy, taking about 7 shots, 6. He's going to hit. This is literally 2 out of 3 shots, right? He's going to hit 2 out of every 3 shots because they're all at the rim. There's really no worrying about that for him. Even when he took the 3 field goal attempts, he got 6 free throws, was knocking them down in this last game against Minnesota to close things out. He was a problem for sure. And if you think about it, so this is another 6 field goals because he went to the line 6 times, meaning 3 different possessions, right, where he got fouled. That's 3 shots that he didn't get accounted for. So 6 shots again. And if you put him at 6 shots, problem is he needs to make 5, right, or a free throw with it. So that's kind of annoying. But if he takes 7, we're still good. For him to hit, yeah, he would need to hit 4 out of, well, what's 5 divided by 7? That is 70%. So yeah, it's a little bit more of a toss-up. What was his stuff during the regular season? Let's see. Hold up. 2023, he averaged, well, really, we should do like in the last 30 games. Let's do Gafford stats with Mavs. So with the Mavs in 29 games, 21 and a half minutes per game. Yeah, he's still at 11.2, man, in the 7 boards. Like, I'm not here to fade Gafford, to be honest with you. I think he's going to be a problem. I think Derek Lively is going to be a problem. Yeah. Yeah, I think, did he get hurt in that game, Mike, in that first one? He might have gotten hurt because he only played like 6 minutes in that game against Boston here. Let me go to head-to-head. Where is he at? I know he played in the I know he played in that game, so this is just wrong. Let me go back to the game right here. So this is the box score for that game. And I know Gafford played, what was it, 6 minutes? He didn't start, but he played 6, and then maybe he got hurt, I guess, is the way that worked. But because he played, is he even playing Q2 or is he already hurt in Q1? Yeah, he got hurt in the first quarter and then was out. So he clearly got hurt in that game and then didn't play the rest. So I'm not worried about his numbers versus this team at all. I honestly think that if you look at his numbers with Dallas, he went over this consistently, right? With Dallas in terms of the 8.5, up at about 11.2 in 29 games because he's the beneficiary of those lobs, dude. So it's tough for me to take it under. I like the 8.5, to be honest. I guess I'm liking the over. I think offense is going to prevail in this series, to be honest. I do think like it's going to be up to, I know both these defenses have been good, but I mean, if the Celtics are hitting threes, ain't much you can do. And I really don't know that you can mess with Luka right now in a way that's actually going to bother him. But Elijah's saying that Kleber likely gets minute. Yeah, that's fair. I don't think so either. I saw some people saying that they thought Kleber was going to be a little bit more important to this, but I just don't see it. I think it's a lot more Gafford and Lively, and you're just going to see what you saw last series from Kleber when he finally got in there. So, like we know now that like Gafford is going to play. Let's just look at the 2023. Let's do last 10. Gafford is going to play. If you look at the minutes, right, he's going to play 22-ish minutes. That's what we saw them. And this was without Lively. So, like, that doesn't really matter. And then Lively left in this game and then missed this game, right? So, like, and then played in this one and he got 20. So I think that's going to continue to be the case. The minutes are going to be directly impacted by Lively, but, like, he's going to play 20 to 25 minutes for Gafford, 24 to 26 minutes for Lively. I think you can bank on that, man. So if you can bank on both of them getting minutes, you can probably bank on both of them getting theirs in the amount of time that they've been getting it in, right? And I definitely still like that as a look here moving forward for both these guys. 8.5 points in the playoffs. Let's pull this up real quick. And I can't do it over here. Man, I gotta get Outlier to change that, man, because I really just need to look at the freaking playoff stats right now. Stats with Mavs. Let's do game log. Well, it's really the last 12. Because the last 12 is when these rotations have been what they are now. And in the last 12, man, let me just do last 12 games. Daniel Gafford, last 12 games. This should give me, yes. All right, good. This give me averages and the game log. So there's only been 3 games. No, I'm sorry. The 2 games. So 10 out of 12, still at the right. And this is in 23.7 minutes. I think you got to project him at that. So let's do that real quick. Let's use the last 12 games and put Gafford in here. This is for sure going to tell me to bet the over on Gafford. Problem is like, all right, let's look at Props Madness for a minute. I'm going to pull up Gafford. I want to look at what he's doing. It's a score versus how the Celtics defend that. So obviously Gafford is taking 90% of his shots down here inside the restricted area, right? Opponent defense is number 4 in the league down there. So the other thing is going to be Cuts and pick and roll, man. And that's where they're pretty good. You can't get defensive against cuts. The roll man, putback, everything here is going to be pretty good for them. I think it's going to be the same concept for Lively, taking even more of his shots down here. And he's cutting and getting the pick. So it's the same stuff. Like he's going to get, if you think they're going to get their lobs and Kristaps is not in a great position to stop it, then they're going to keep getting theirs, man. Let me look the head-to-head real quick. Yeah, Lively, not the playoffs, though. So Lively in this game, he started in this game, played 23 minutes. I think that's going to keep being the case, man. I like both of them to get theirs. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, for sure. I'm going to put that in here as a lean right now as well, and then come back to these in a little bit. So I'm putting Gafford over 8.5 points. I'm not really worried about the boards, but like the problem with the boards, and let me see what was, let me go back to Gafford. The problem with the boards is, once again, like Gafford is going to be guarding, if most likely, PJ Washington to start, or PJ Washington. No, he is going to be guarding the center. It's the other way around. My bad. So he'll be guarding Kristaps to start the game, who we know is going to play out on the perimeter. For Gafford, though, like, so even like against Chet, he was getting those boards. They were kind of letting Chet shoot a little bit more. I don't know if you can do that with Kristaps. And the rebound chances I want to see too. Let me go back over here into outlier. I'll just keep it to the last 10 for a minute. The rebound chances have been super high, man. Super high, right? This is a lot of rebound chances. 14.7 to get, what's his number at? 5.5. That's another good over, man. I mean, head to head, it doesn't really matter because we established he played barely any minutes. I know that let me pull up some Courtside Pal real quick. I'm sure this is going to say he's not good. If you guys are not familiar with Courtside Pal, link in the description as well. I haven't been talking about it as much because Courtside Pal is pulling through season data, right? And when I want to split things up by playoffs and season, because it's not the same, a little bit hard, but this is really going to help me see player type versus defense rather than just player position, right? Like, how does he do against center? How does this team play against centers is only so relevant when not every center in the league is the same type of player. So Gafford, I'll look at the rebounds versus this squad. So I'm changing this under team ranks versus player type, which is just a quick scroll down from up top. Then I'm going to pull up, click on rebounds, and now I'm looking at his rebounding profile against Boston. 16th isn't bad, actually. It's middle of the pack, so I don't need to be scared like he's not capable of getting these boards. Other thing is, even if he is pulled from the basket and he's further away, the Celtics are shooting threes, right? So when you shoot a three and it misses, it's a longer rebound. So even if Gafford's pulling his rebounds down further from the basket, like, who cares, right? Like, he's actually in a good position against the Celtics. So, yeah, we can look at the sides too here in a minute. Truth. Is that Paul Pierce, bro? What's up? Yeah, let me just put the sides in total real quick as I finish the center stuff. Sides and totals. It's interesting because I do think this will be a little bit slower, but you know what's interesting is that the Celtics, the Mavs played pretty fast this season. They actually were the 7th fastest pace in the regular season. And when these two teams played, they played at about 100.5 pace. So there's a lot of speed and pace to these games, which is getting us the over pretty consistently with them. So, yeah, I wonder, I mean, what's the PR? Let me look at that real quick. So I'm going to finish up the Gafford stuff and get to a couple more before we do sides and totals. Gafford, so the rebounds is what it is. The PR is, let me pull that up, in the last 10. So 14.5 is plus money. Wow. As opposed to 8.5 points plus the thing. Wow. I mean, it's 10 for 12. He needs to get both. I guess combining them is not terrible. Mostly because you're not really losing anything. You're not losing juice. You're not losing much of anything. You're just kind of getting the opportunity for him to just keep going. So I kind of like that. Let me know what you think. You already know, Timmy, the Timothy Thomas. You already know. Isaiah, let me know what you think too, bro. I'm interested to know what you think about the PR versus the points. Like, I don't. Well, 14. You were asking about 13.5. Yeah, I got 14.5 right here, right? So if you want the 13.5, it's minus 138. Let's see. In the last 10, he's averaging 17.2. it's going to tell you to take it, honestly, at 14.5 at that point, too, in the model. I'll put both in for you real quick. But the 17.2 that he's averaging, going over this hella consistently, I think that's a big deal. And like I said, if you look at the last 20 in the playoffs for him, he was hurt in these games right here. He played, if you look at the minutes, 18, 19. So some down minutes in here. Over here, he played 9.5 because he broke his pinky, 14.5 in game 1, right? So, like, we can kind of, I would rather use the last 12 games where he was clearly healthy and able to play all these minutes right here. And that's when he got his. Now, I think these are the two unders. No, this is an under. He played 20.8. Okay. So he had a bad game against Minnesota there. I think that was a game I bet on him too, and he missed like every shot. He was like 4 for 9. It was a pain in the ass. What was he actually? 2 for 4. He only took 4 shots and like missed some free throws for Gafford. So yeah, I think both are good, bro. If you're talking about it, but yeah, I'm interested to see what you like too, man. Let me see. All right, let's do Lively. Let me put Gafford. Do I have his points in here? I'm good with the points and the PR. I mean, if you take the plus money, it's been going crazy. I think I actually am starting to prefer the PR because so it's 5. So he'd have to get the 6.5, but 10 points is not a bad look for Gafford. Yeah, I think they're both good. I'm gonna leave that in here. Points or PR right now is the lean for Gafford. I'll be making that or PR, and you got to get plus money. So that's in the leans right now. Everything is now again scrolling on the bottom line as soon as I can pull it back up. So yeah, everything's scrolling on the bottom line that I already put up, including the leans. You got to take them at 9.5. Are you? Let me know what you're talking about there, Cody. Is it because you want? Is that the only thing your book is offering? Is the 9.5? Or do you just want the plus money? I mean, yeah, the 9.5. You're getting a lot closer to no bueno, to be honest. He does get 10 very consistently, but you're bumping right up against it. I think the 9 points is a little bit safer. I guess it doesn't really matter because he does score in 2s, right? It depends what you think about the free throws. And I believe that the Celtics are very good at limiting free throws. Let me go to points real quick because you can also see down here. Yeah, they're number 1 in the league in limiting free throws. And he's not really relying on the free throws. So I think 9.5 is not as far off from 8.5 because you still need him to make 5 shots, right? So if you get the better juice for the 9.5, I think it's a good question, to be honest. Cody, you brought that up, right? Yeah, I think it's plus on the score. Yeah, I think it's a good look to just take 9.5 as opposed to 8. Mike and I talk about that too in the Discord a bunch. Is if you're going to get a guy like TJ McConnell, Daniel Gafford, all they're doing is shooting 2s. So you might as well take him at 9.5 the same way you take him at 8.5 because he ain't hitting a 3. He's not shooting a 3. And the free throws don't matter quite as much. And the Celtics limit free throws to the tune of the best in the league, right? So I think that makes sense. Truth coming in hot with a few. Let me look to Luke Skywalker step back more than 3+. Yeah, for sure. The SGP I have going, Truth, is let me make sure I got it. Yeah, 30 points for Luka, 8 boards, 3 threes is plus 128 on your money. That is a bet that's scrolling on the bottom line right now. So I like that. Damn, a Derek White look, huh? But yeah, that's the answer is yes. I like that. Let me put Josh Green in here. We got Lil Glory Boy Zay talking about Josh Green 3s. Let me at least just put him in here and we can talk about that. And I do want to talk about the sides and totals, so I will. But Green, we'll look at his 3s prop, but I think it's a good look to talk about his 3s over everything. So let me get into Lively real quick, so at least we can touch on that. But there's not much different. Like everything I just said about Daniel Gafford applies to Derek Lively. They play the same game. They're out there to impact things in the same fashion, right? The thing about Lively is he's a lot more spry with the ball. Like, who trusts Daniel Gafford with the ball in his hands? Pretty much nobody, including the Mavericks, which is also partly why they love Daniel Gafford so much. He's so much better on ball on offense, right? What are his dimes at? What did he get over here? Wait, what are we doing here? Let's get back into the playoffs. 3, 2, 2, 3. Yeah. So it's at 1.5 or plus 120 on his dimes. It's just a quick look that I'm looking at here too. Like, if he does get offensive rebounds, like, I see him kicking it out a lot more the way he did in this last series. What are his potentials at? Let me go back to Outlier for a minute. Hang on. Get back to Lively. All right, let me get into D Lively. The 7.5 points, I don't like at the -130, to be honest. His rebounds has he's been going crazy, right? 7.5 or plus money, or you can take 6.5 for trash money. So they've got him right on the cusp there. The rebound chances are just where Daniel Gafford's are at, man, right? And this was the game where he got hurt, so he didn't get any minutes. But all these rebound chances to go over the 7.5, he's still been getting it. At the same time, Minnesota's offense is not this Boston Celtics offense. So I don't know how much I love that. What did he do earlier in the year? 4 in just he played 23.5 minutes here and 24.6 here. So it's still a pretty good sample of what we can expect his projections to be in this one. Man, I don't like betting on both these dudes, but it's not like they really take away from each other too much because they're both going to get the same amount of minutes they've been getting, honestly. Right now, I'm preferring like Gafford, but there's no reason for it. And this is what I know I'm interrupting myself, but this is what I was talking about earlier, Dr. Dre, is like if Jalen does a good job on Luka, plus he does make some shots and is like scoring almost as much as Tatum, like why not? You know what I mean? I think that makes total sense. Let me get Instagram back online real quick because they do that. They always do this after an hour, which is mad annoying. Instagram won't listen to us when we try to tell them how to be better. I'll be honest with you. It's mad annoying. But let's let the Instagram homies get back in here. Let me get this stream key. Copy that bitch. All right. Nope, not there. Here. All right, save those changes. All right, good. We're good to go. All right. Now we got Insta back online. Yeah, I think that's a decent look. I don't know. I don't know about smashing anything right now, Calm Locks. I like your name too, by the way. Calm Locks. Like, because most locks are screaming at us, are they not? We'll go live on Insta. The stuff for Lively is the same stuff, man. It's the same thing as Gafford, and I like Gafford. There's nothing that's giving me much of a difference between both of them, except for Gafford, the 8.5. I think Gafford can get 10. That was the point that I was making earlier, by the way, was like if Gafford can get 8.5, he can get 10. Like if he can get 9, he can get 10. He's going to be shooting mostly. I mean, he's going to be shooting all twos, a couple free throws here and there, but you might as well land on the even number for him and get a little bit better juice for the 10. So I'm not necessarily there with a double-double. I don't know that Boston's going to be missing shots the way Minnesota does. Rebounds require the other team to miss a lot, right? Obviously, you can get some offensive boards, but keep that in mind. So for D Lively, though, I don't have anything to help me with the difference. The thing is he's, like I said, way better on ball. So I like the PRA for Lively more than I like the PRA for Gafford, because Gafford is not a playmaker with the ball in his hands. He travels and is bad. Honestly, his feet are bad. His everything is bad except for him basically being a big monster. That's an athlete, very good athlete, but not like the most cerebral player with the ball in his hands. Much better on defense, as we know. So with Lively, if you're going for PRA, whatever, I like the PRA. I mean, if you get good money for you don't get great money for the dimes. And I don't really want to have to take him to get 3. The reason his assists were high against the Timberwolves is when he got those offensive boards, all that kind of stuff, like he really wasn't able to go back up with it and put together a few moves or whatever. You know what I mean? So let me see real quick. Mike was saying, I know you do love, that's his boy right there. That's his prize goat is Derek Lively's bets. Josh, you hit the nail on the head with Luka's rebound assignments. Yeah, because Lively's going to be shadowing Porzingis on the arc, right? By the way, Porzingis shot mostly all of his threes freely in the regular season. That's what you learn when you go back and watch a tape. You're 100% right, Mike. So I agree with that. Yeah, that's annoying, Comlocks. That Prize Picks keeps getting banned randomly. Almost seems like we just should have like a federal gaming board, right? I don't know. Yeah, Porzingis should be playing. If somebody was asking about that, thanks for following up, Elijah. Porzingis is playing. Like he's still listed in a lot of places like Game Time Decision, but he's playing for sure. And no problem, Cody, as well. Yeah, happy to help. For Papa Al, bro, yeah, like I like his points. I've got him as a lean right now. Blue Mamba, that's funny. I got him as a lean right now for Al Horford points because I don't think his minutes are going down that far, and we're getting some pretty good numbers. He was at 9.5, 10.5 points throughout the playoffs. Let me actually go back and look real quick. I want to see what Al's points were I know I'm interrupting myself, but I told y'all this is gonna be a chill stream. It's Sunday night. I might even grab a beer in a minute, to be honest with you, and just kind of keep that going. But I'm gonna show you guys betting pros for a minute. Because this is where you want to see what the recent numbers were, and so that you can compare yesterday's price. And plenty of you guys have seen this, but this is a really, really helpful tool to see previous lines for these guys, right? So I'm gonna put Al Horford in here so you can see. I know that Porzingis is in, but I'll run through this one more time because this is huge for the series. 7.5 points gets you plus 105. Over here, see all these numbers at how much higher they were. I know they're without Kristaps, and I know he's still only going to get like he's not going to play 40 minutes without Kristaps, so that does make sense. Yeah, I mean, look at these minute totals for him, right? And obviously, after the 40 minutes, he's going to play 25. But they just needed him in here to finish this game. But we don't know that Kristaps is available for that many minutes yet, right? And Al's still going to get anywhere from 27 to like 29. He played a bunch of minutes at the same time. Yeah, and that's fair. That's fair that you wouldn't want to play Al for 10 plus if he's not starting. I can understand that. But what I'm trying to say too is like I think the minutes will still be there. And I want to answer Calm last question. So I'm going to keep the NBA going. I am going to be at Summer League. I know it sounds degenerate as hell, but if you're asking me about my plans for betting after the NBA, I'll get into WNBA videos. I'll get into MLB videos, probably about twice a week for MLB, at least 3 times a week for WNBA. And then, don't sleep on, oh, that was tight. They got the Mac effect. That's so stupid. Now, like, that is so dumb. So the NBA Summer League, don't sleep because there's dudes that don't belong in the Summer League. They're better than everybody in there. You can really get some good value on that stuff and take guys like last year, like Isaiah Jackson on the Pacers. Like, Isaiah Jackson's a legit NBA player. He's better than all these rookies and dudes that are fighting for a career, right? So he was a fun one to take. Dyson Daniels on the Pelicans. That's a legit NBA player, and he's playing against scrubs and backups and whatever. Like so Summer League is gonna be in there too. And then as soon as NFL like futures and all that come out, boom, we're gonna be hitting that in August with the ground running, and go from there. So I appreciate you asking though, because I do want to. I'll get those plans out to you guys here in a little bit. Let me keep it moving. I'm gonna lay off of Derek Lively for right now. In fact, I think he'll probably be somebody that we look at the live stream on Thursday next week. So that'll be back at the normal time on Thursday, day of the game. We'll get back into some more stuff. So let me get a couple more things in here. I'm going to take out Gafford and Lively because we went and got their stuff. I had a question about the Josh Green threes. I believe that was Stan. We should look at JB sides and totals. So we still got time. Like I said, I'm down to grab a beer here in a minute. And then there was one that you just brought up too that I liked that I wanted to look at. Oh yeah, PJ. We didn't talk about PJ yet. That's somebody that I have not broken down either. So I'm going to try to get through these here, y'all. And then, we got to save some stuff for later. But let me just get into the stuff that I know you guys asked about. No one really asked about Jaylen Brown. I want to look at Porzingis personally. I right now I'm leaning on the first quarter points for KP. So yeah, but because you're bringing it up now, and I know I'm all over the place, but once again, I don't give a shit. This is a chill show. And now I'm actually intrigued because I have not looked at PJ at all. But there's not that much data to help us with PJ, and he's hella annoying. But let's go back and look at his stuff real quick. I think you also just brought up how annoying it is to bet on PJ because of his inconsistencies. So yeah, the 12 here, the points are not what I really want to ever bet on with him. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The field goals. So he's in this series right here. He did take a good amount. He crushed OKC until they started guarding him, obviously. And then he missed a few more shots over here. 10, 11, 10, 13, 9 in the Minnesota series for his shots. What was his head-to-heads? Did he played in that one game on the first, right? Let me pull that box score back up. So this is the box score of the game in March for them. PJ played 35 minutes. He took 16 shots. That doesn't seem right. I don't know that you want to bank on that again, right? Derrick Jones Jr. will be out there. PJ should be guarded by Kristaps. And then Al Horford when he gets out there. Those were the matchups that I showed you guys earlier. Yeah. Concerning. I don't really like PJ's stuff right now, man. Let me see if there's something that we can find to help us try to cap this. Because I just don't know if you can. Like PJ is one of those dudes where it's like make or miss. One of the things I've been attacking with PJ is like, can you combine like his other stats? So 10, what we've been doing is like 10 points, 5 boards, 2 threes, right? That's kind of been the play for PJ because he's so inconsistent. I prefer to find these like more consistent lines. So he's consistently hitting 2 threes. He's consistently getting 10 points, right, throughout these playoffs. And then, in fact, he's getting that number more than any other. And then the rebounds as well. Where are we at with those? The rebounds have been consistently at 5. So that's why I've been going that route with PJ. And I think you just play that every damn time. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, you just keep hitting it the same way. Let me remove this. So 2 made threes for PJ. I'm just using FanDuel for right now. 5+ boards for PJ. He's probably at 5.5, where he always is. 5.5 right there. Oh, you can't do 5 on here. That's right. I got to do this on. So we have to take him for the 6+. But going back to how often he's been getting 5, like, that's a large percentage of the playoffs where he's been getting 5. If you take 5 and not 6, you're talking about him getting it in every single playoff game except for one where he got 4. That's the assuredness that you get with taking him at 5 boards. So that's kind of where I'm at. We're about to be sipping on a little IPA, to be honest. I think you still got to go with that for PJ. Let me go to the same game stuff on DK real quick for PJ Dub. Points. Want to get him at 10+. Let's go down to his alt points. PJ Washington alt points. 10+ is -210, basically what you get on FanDuel. But this allows you to take the rebounds. So let's go to, what's his core 3-pointers prop? Yeah, okay, cool. So we get over 1.5. This is gonna give us a better number anyway. If we take him for 2 threes, 10 points, and then the boards at 5+. Let's do alt boards for PJ Dub. 5+. Plus 128. Another good number, honestly. Okay. That's fair. I think the matchup for PJ, Mike, just while you're bringing it up, like, and be contrarian, by the way. I appreciate, like, everybody in here is allowed to be contrarian. I want to know actual thoughts and opinions. Like, if there's dissent among us, it makes us stronger. As long as we all remain humble and nobody gets in their feelings that if they're not right, then whatever, right? Like, there ain't no room for feelings in here. This is a business where the business is making money and getting better at betting. So I need more information to help me do that. So jump in and tell me what you guys are thinking. And I appreciate Mike's contrarian thoughts that he doesn't necessarily like PJ because he'll have his hands full with Tatum and Brown. So he will have his hands full with one of them. That's a good point. It will always be one of them. He and DJJ, Derek Jones Jr. will be switching a bunch. So that's not a terrible point. But this is what I've been, like I said, like, he's been doing this in the playoffs. So for plus 128, this is what I'm going to go with right now. I'm going to put this in the leans for PJ. It's about the volume and it's about the consistency. He's taking 10 to 12 shots. He's scoring 10-ish points. He's getting 5-ish boards. He's hitting 2-ish threes. It's every game, right? So with that level of consistency that he's shown, I'm going to go ahead and hit that for right now. So I'm going to put that in the leans once again. And then, like I said, everything that I'm actually going to be hitting here is going to be on the comments of the video, as well as SGP, as well as in the Discord here in a little bit. So Washington SGP, we're going to take him for the 10+ points / the 5+ rebs / the 2+3 PM for made. And that's plus 128 on FD. You guys might find some different odds in other places. I'm going to shop it before I come back, before I actually do bet it, but keep all that in mind. Yeah, the 2 threes, the problem with playing it by itself, though, is that it's only like minus 170, Cody. So just like keep that in mind. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of all I can do with PJ is like, what has he been doing? Let me go back to what works and just kind of keep it rolling. Give me 1 sec. I need to grab a little bit of water and I'll be right back. In the meantime. Told you I wasn't playing with this beer either. Got party clouds. I should start doing this sponsored segment, shouldn't I? If any beer vendors out there are watching, like, come get this exposure and let me get some beer. All right, so that's where I'm at with PJ. Just like, what's the numbers? I'm gonna play the numbers, and that's really it. Like, it's gonna be make or miss, but if you play it consistently, if he's going over a little bit more than 50% of the time, which he has been with this bet, then like, cool, we're gonna come out on top for that plus money. So, all right, let's keep it rolling for a minute. That's where I'm at with PJ. But any other questions about that, like, let me know. You know, it's a make or miss league, man. PJ embodies that to the fullest. Let's look at these sides and totals real quick. If nobody has any objection to that. But I think what I was saying up top is like, this should be a lot closer to 50-50, man. I do not believe that like the Celtics are that much better than this Mavs squad, if all at all. And like, what if the Mavs have the two best players on the floor in this series? Is that out of the realm of pot? Like, would you not argue that they had the two best players on the floor in last series? Like, do you think Ant was better than Kyrie? No. I mean, Kyrie has a lot less burden on his shoulders because he's got Luka Doncic on his team, but like, that only makes him that much stronger, to be honest, right? They raise each other's games up. So I took like, I just think this is too high. The problem is, both these teams shoot so many threes that the volatility is super high for the sides, right? And yeah, I'll throw Kyrie in there, my bad. And yeah, I think they have the two best, bro. I agree. I don't want to slander Tatum too much, but I think they do have the two best players in the series. Like, I guess the question is, would you rather have Kyrie or would you rather have Jason Tatum? If you just ask it like that, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, but like, yeah, and it's gonna be a good series. People are trashing this series, but it's another good point by you, Elijah. Like, this backcourt is prime. Now, D White is gonna have a little bit of trouble against Luka. Let's look at that real quick from this other game, which didn't really matter, but this is the game in March. It's not 1-to-1. We can't just use this and run with it. But like, if you look at the matchups, let's put Luka on offense and see who tried to guard him and how that went for everybody. So if you go into the game log on one of these games on NBA.com, you can go into matchups, and then you can look at how everybody did as the primary defender on Luka. So we know that JB is going to be the primary defender on Luka. 6 points in those like 5 minutes. So he did a pretty good job, right? He at least made it tough for him. He forced Luka to make a few more dimes. And then, you know, I guess Tatum got on him for a little bit. 2 points. This was all on switches. So like, it really is like the reason that everybody has like similar amount of minutes on Luka is the fact that like he's just hunting who he wants to guard him. I guess Derek White didn't get caught on, but look, this is what I was going to show you. And I wasn't positive about this, but look at the Derek White stuff right here. 8 points in a minute. Every time that Derek White was on him, he cooked him, right? 3 threes, 4 total shots. Let me look at the Derek White specific shots right here. So yeah, he got him in the ISO early in the game. That's kids work stuff right there, man. That's too easy. That was one Derek White. He's going to keep shooting every time he has Derek White on him. Yeah, now he's like, that's just Luka being Luka. Boy is crazy, dude, right? This game is so ridiculous. Let's see. Okay, Derek White on him again. So he calls for the screen. Derek White's still the primary, but it's just so easy, man. Because if he wants to bang with him down low, he's just going to tool him, honestly. Now he waits for the switch. So whoever Derek White is guarding is who Luka's like, come here, right? In this case, it was Josh Green. Ugh. That's making my point even better than I could. Made him fall over with the step back. Like, what are we watching with this Luka, man? It's crazy. In a feel it out game, Mike's saying he strategized to blanket Kyrie and I agree. I agree that you let Luka wear himself out. And he did get a triple double in both matchups, but that didn't work, right, Mike? That's kind of your point, is that like Luka got triple doubles in both games, yet they didn't win either of those games for the Mavs, right? Like, Celtics still won those games. What is a 30-point triple double for Luka? Can we parlay that real quick? If you're going to take the triple-double and you can parlay it, you might as well. Let me see real quick on FanDuel. To record a triple-double for Luka is plus 400. Can I combine that with 30-plus points or his over? Oh, yeah. Wait, actually, let me remove the PJ threes. Okay, it's still good, though. Plus 631. It's crazy that we got to add the 32 points, and this is 32. So what is it with the 30-plus for Luka? because honestly, if it's, what is it, plus 534, I mean, should we just bet this for the first 4 games and at least guarantee ourselves some money? Yeah, let me look at Kyrie here in a minute. But all right, let me look at Kyrie for you guys. Like, I'm assuming that what we're talking about with Kyrie though is like, do we think that he's going to go clean off? You know what I mean? Yeah. So first of all, if you're going to take Luka on the triple double, I don't hate the 30 plus in the triple double. I think that's going to be what he does. But I like the points for our boy more, and points and rebounds is what I really like. So if you're taking like a combo prop for Luka, I like the PR. The assists are fine. I'm not in like, he's going to be able to do a lot, but I think he's going to be focused on scoring. I showed you like he's just mismatch hunting. And if the Celtics do play the way Mike suggested, which is like let Luka wear himself out, then that does mean they focus on Kyrie. Kyrie's going to have, I would guess, Drew on him. That's how I would play. I don't know why you would do it differently, but with Kyrie with Drew on him, that's a problem. Let's look at Kyrie in this other one. You can make the argument that Kyrie not playing well in this game in March was partly what hurt them. So it was a lot more Derek White on him. But you gotta, Drew was guarding some Luka as well in there alongside Jaylen Brown. But now you've got Derek Jones back in the lineup. Like Derek Jones did not start in this game in March. Did he even play in this game? He played a little bit, right? In this game in March. He played 7 minutes. He wasn't a part of the starting lineup the way he is now. And now with him in there, you can move him onto Jason Tatum. And then, that'll keep other guys freer. But yeah, so I guess the main thing here for Kyrie, and let's get into that. So if you're going to take the sides here, I'm going in game 1. I do like an over, and I do like the Mavs to be able to cover. But once again, with the volume of threes that these teams shoot, which is the most in the league, like I'm a bit nervous to just like bet on a total at any point in time. When the threes go in, looking at overs. When the threes don't go in, going to be a lot closer in the totals. Both these offenses are incredible, but they're very dependent upon threes, which leaves a lot of volatility. So do with that what you will, but I prefer the over, as I think the offenses will prevail in this series, even though probably going to be at a Turtles pace. So keep that in mind. Let me look at Kyrie so that everybody who wants to talk about him doesn't get mad at me. Let's go to Kyrie points right quick. So we're at over 23.5. Ugh, that's a lot of points, y'all, for a man that has been wildly inconsistent. This is not a closeout game, right? So I don't know if that is when you bet on Kyrie. And the other thing is that first half stuff, as we know, right? Like if you look at his first half points, it's up to 12.5, which in the last 20, he's basically since the playoffs started, he hit 1, 2, 3, 4 times out of 17 playoff games that he's gone over this first half number. So with him playing so poorly in the first half and Luka just doing his thing in the first half, like it's tough to really bet on Kyrie points. You're talking about the 30. I mean, the shot attempts are there, right? Why won't you? Okay, this is the first half. So if I go down to field goals in the games, like, yeah, in the playoffs, especially in these last bunch of games, he's up at above 20 field goal attempts per game. He took 27 in this last one. Let's look at him head to head real quick, right? What did he do recently? So, yeah, it's not the same necessary scenario, but let's pull him up against, let's do this. Let's do Kyrie versus Boston last 10 games. No, not GAES. Game as a 20.8. This is since he left Boston, right? Yeah. So since he left Boston, we're looking at 20.8 points per game. He got more than 23 twice in these last 10. Let me see this. What about how many times has he played Boston since he left Boston? So he went from Cleveland to Boston. So it would be last 18. He's played 18 games versus Boston since leaving them, right? Obviously, we can't like bank on the Brooklyn shit and really much of anything. But like, I just want to know, has he just had it out for them since then? At first, maybe he scored 37 his first game at the TD Garden. The Garden is MSG. Let's be very clear. But at TD Garden, he went for 37. He went for 40 in Brooklyn against Boston. But on the Mavs, 19 and 23, that's both during the regular season this season. Took 23 and 20 shots, though. I do think the shots will keep going up for him. I do think he's hungry to score against them. I mean, if you do whatever you want with that pop psychology, but I'll tell you this right now. I'm not going under on Kyrie to like try to get cute with it. These are terrible percentages, obviously. 9 for 23. Even 9 for 20 is not terrible for him in general, but for Kyrie, who's usually much more efficient, I don't like that. The usage is there. It's a bit more of a make or miss. Now, if I use Kyrie's playoff stats, though, and I use that to like look up what we think he's going to do in this game, it's going to tell me not to go over on him. I mean, he's at, well, let's see. I guess in the playoffs, let me look at it. Kyrie, this playoffs. Kyrie this playoff, 17, 22.8 in 40.2 minutes. You got to project him for another 40 minutes in this game. Let's see what this tells us with these odds. So the odds for Kyrie at 23.5. Oh man, this is going to be a stay away. I'm going to be honest with you. I know it's a stay away. It's not what we want to hear. I'm not here to predict when Kyrie goes off randomly right now. And 23.5 points right now is considered going off for Kyrie. So the best numbers here at 23.5, you can get minus 115 for the over and even money for the under. If anything, it's going to be a little bit better for the under. So Kyrie, I'm putting him in the little baby model. This is linked in the Discord if you don't yet have it. So I would recommend, it's like a 5-step process. It's really not that hard, but to make sure that you get the best number on your bets here. This is what professional bettors are doing at a very, very simple level. What they're doing is they're taking a number and taking a projection and then putting it all into a little model and going, is this a good price for me to take it? So 23.5 points, right? The under we said is even money. The over is minus 115. Remembered that time. 40.4 minutes. Prop average 23. That I didn't remember. I'm trying to talk shit over here. Prop average in the playoffs is 22.8, right? 22.8 PPG. Let's project him for another 40. Nope, not 49. Excuse me. I mean, he could play 42. Let's whatever 42 for now. I don't think it matters. There's a little bit edge though, but this is not right. So the even money under odds are going to be 50%, and the over odds at minus 115. Damn, I should remember that. Minus 115 is 53%. We can't round up. So 53%. Yeah, there's no edge either way. I mean, this is about as close. This is a 50-50 bet, man, for Kyrie. It's a 50-50 bet. I'm not here to take these 50-50 bets. I'm here to find these moments in time where we can get an edge, right? And this edge needs to be at least 10%, prefer it closer to 20 for me to take these bets unless I really like it. Keep in mind that, yes, Kyrie going back to Boston, whatever you think about it, if you think, fine. But how do I define that within which game it's going to be? Right. I do think you don't let him go off. I think you just accept the fact that Luka's going to Luka. You let him get 35 points. You don't let him pass to the corners. You don't let him throw the lobs as much as you can. And you just hope that like Jaylen Brown can do his best to limit. Definitely not a lock for Luka triple-double. But if you want to take it. I like the PR more than anything. But if you want to add the assists, triple-double every game for Luka, you only need to hit it once and you're all right. But so I got to pass on that, bro. As far as the points for Kyrie go, I got to pass on that. They said, like I said, literally a 50-50 bet. If I get an edge one way or the other, if he starts missing a bunch of shots, if Kyrie doesn't go over for like 2 games in a row and we get this thing down to like 20.5 points because he's not looking that good, then we go over. Then we pounce on the right moment in time. But right now at 23.5, without knowing anything about this series yet, it ain't the right time to bet on Kyrie. It's too much of a 50-50 bet. So that's where I'm at with that. Hell yeah. You can get 8.5 boards for Luka. Grab it, bro. I'm with it. I like that right there, Reek, for sure. Reek. It rhymes with meek. All right, let me keep it moving to a couple other things real quick. Game against Boston, he's averaging 34. What do you mean by that? Game 1 against Boston in the playoffs. He's played Boston in the playoffs. Was that the Boston series or the when he was on Brooklyn? Is that what we're referencing here? Let me go back for one sec. Kyrie. Oh yeah, he did play them in the playoffs over here, didn't he? Yeah, this was a playoff series. This was a playoff series. This is in 2021. So yeah, this is a playoff series. Yeah, this is the same playoff series. And then, wow, yeah, they played twice, didn't they? And Brooklyn got swept, right? One of those times. Anyway, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, they did play in the playoffs, and he could. It's just a different situation. I don't know that I can use that in this one when he's got Luka Doncic on his team at this point, and I believe KD missed those playoff games, right? So, he could go bonkers. Like, I'm not going to tell anybody you're crazy for saying that Kyrie is going to get 30 and go for it, right? But I'm almost with Elijah in that, which is like, what's the number, Elijah, for Kyrie to get 30 points? That's then yeah, that would be what I'd prefer to even the 23 and a half, or like plus 105 for him to get 25 when it's a 20. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, at that point, I'll just put a little bit fewer units, but even the 30 plus, if it's plus 200, then okay, plus 320. Damn, really? Okay, that's worth it. I like that right there. Let's put in the model. Let's just put in the model real quick. So if we are saying the points prop is at 29.5 and the over is 320, right? I'm not even worried about this at this point. Then 320 is going to be, what are the implied probabilities there? 24%. Book over is 24%. Yeah, I mean, shit, you might as well take it for a little bit. 42 minutes. This is 30, over 30. Yeah, whatever. It's like, cool, because even at a 24%, like, you're getting good money back on it. I agree with the plus 320. Wow, I would have had that at like plus 220. So if you are getting plus 320 for Kyrie to get 30 in this game, that's worth a sprinkle. I agree with that. I'll tail with y'all. Fuck it. Game one. Despite everything that I just said as I'm rambling about Kyrie, let me get a little sprinkle on Kyrie 30 plus. You convinced me the bottle's like, sure, why not? Go for it, bro. Fuck it, we're gambling. All right, Kyrie. I like that. Kyrie 30 plus. And this, like, look, like I said, he could go under a bunch of times. We get this thing down to 20.5 points, but it's worth it with a sprinkle. So 0.3 units at plus 320 is nice. And if you get a better number than that, I'll find it as well. But is that which book was that? Elijah, which book is the plus 320? Just let me know when you get a sec, and I'll throw it in there alongside that. But that's a 0.3 unit bet right there. 0.3 to get us basically 1 unit back on our money if that does hit. So got all that stuff run on the bottom line there. Jaylen Brown was one that you guys brought up to here a minute ago. Let me see about JB. Who did I project? Bet365 is plus 310. Okay. And yeah, no doubt. This is a good look by Azania as well. Kyrie under first quarter and his over second half. 2 for 17 is, yeah, I know. One of them was the last game, but yeah, continuing to fade Kyrie in the first quarter, Zana, has been like a good look. Nah, you're being smart about it, Cody. Like, I'm saying kind of screw it because it's game one. This is just as likely of a game for him to go off as any others. Ooh, you got me intrigued, Shoes by Nick. Let me look at that in one sec. You know I love these head-to-head bets. We'll go into that. But Kyrie plus 310, plus 320 is still going to be a look for a little bit of sprinkle. Going with that. I did want to look at Jaylen Brown, but now you got me really intrigued with these head-to-head bets real quick. So let me pull up those on DK. And I don't think FanDuel has been coming back to these at all because they're cowards. But honestly, like, DK is not very good at this. I'm 9-1 now on these head-to-head bets on DraftKings in the playoffs. Feels pretty good. I ain't gonna lie to you. Let's look at these. So wow, Tatum and Luka plus 3.5, minus 3.5. And look at minus 3.5 is juiced down to minus 125 for Luka to get this. I don't hate it, man. Derek White was something that people wanted to look at too. My bad. I remember that. But look, this is a chill stream. We're going to be getting back into this on Thursday. I'll be doing a couple other, hopefully, WNBA streams and MLB stuff this week. So, like, there'll be a little bit more going on. And I don't want this to get too repetitive with the NBA. But we might as well keep moving on these head-to-heads things, and we'll come back here. I'll probably be done here in about 20, 30 minutes. So, get anything else in that I've missed. And if I've just been ignoring you, just come back in the comments and let me know. Because, sometimes the ADD takes over, but when I like something more than something else. All right. I'll look at Derek White to make this look here in a minute. But this is the definition of a stay away. Because if PJ goes off, like, I need Derek White to get 20 essentially, or so, maybe like 19. Because I could see PJ getting like 15, 16 points. That's where I put his ceiling, though. Derek White could have a higher ceiling if he's able to hit some threes, but I don't know if that's going to be the case yet. Let me pull up Props Madness for a minute. Pull up Derek White. Where are you at, D White? So this is playoffs, but with Kristaps in, Derek White does a lot less PNR ball handling, does a lot more spotting up, which I guess is helpful. In the playoffs, though, once again, this is mostly without Kristaps. So, but he's still been spotting up. So that adds up. These defensive ranks, though, that we see here are now the playoff ranks, right? Playoff type analysis. So this is all playoff data that's pulling through here. But they're still good against the spot up stuff. It's really tough for me to figure out Derek White in this series right now. Neither of these teams are like that bad or that good against spot up stuff, to be honest. They're kind of middle of the pack. I mean, I could see D White doing fine against this team. What did he do during the regular season? 13-6. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about D White. Honestly, he's a bit more of a toss up as well. I'm not gonna lie to you. Let me see if there's anything else that stands out in these head-to-head things. What was the one that you just brought up, bro? I want to see real quick. Jaylen Brown versus Kyrie points. Ooh, that sounds tough. Shoes by Nick. And then you've got Tatum and Luka combined rebounds. Juice, but it seems like it's a good over. Hell yeah. We'll be getting into those. And then rebounds for Tatum with KP back. I'm still not worried about it, Elijah. I still think Tatum rebounds are a good look, to be honest. He'll probably be guarding the center, like I said, a little bit more. So I still think Tatum to be down low and getting boards is a good play. Kind of think the same thing for JB. But let me look at the Kyrie JB. Oof. I don't like it. I prefer JB, and the books seem to agree a bit because I think he's more reliable as like a stable scorer. What's been his stuff real quick? Let me pull up Jaylen Brown, which I was supposed to be doing anyways. JB on the points, 23.5, right? So they've got them both at the same number here. JB's at -110. Kyrie is on 23.5 points is at -120. So they're saying they like Kyrie for the points, but that's why we've got Jaylen Brown juiced down at plus. Where's he at? Versus Kyrie, right? -120 if you want him, because they're both at the same number. Kyrie's a little bit more likely, according to the implied odds, to get his in this case. But damn, yeah, that's another toss-up, to be honest. Both Jaylen Brown, I would bet on this more consistently. Let me put it that way. And that's what I was looking at before I interrupted myself once again. Jaylen Brown consistently, right? Like he's not faltering below 20 points very often. In fact, in his last 10, he only got under 24 points twice. It was a 19-point game and the 11-point game versus Cleveland. So Jaylen Brown's a lot more dependable than Kyrie is, especially because Kyrie's got Luka on his team, who's a dude that's going to go off consistently, right? If we pull up Jaylen over here to see how he scores versus the way that he scores and how well the Mavs D that up. If we look at JB right here, where he's scoring from, look, they're going to be pretty good down low, but they're really consistent and flexible. If we look at the play type stuff, this is throughout the season. He's scoring most of his points in transition. This is Jaylen Brown. He's also getting spot ups, right? And this team is not great in spot ups. They're really bad against ISO, which means Tatum's more likely to get these points than Jaylen Brown, to be honest, because he's in ISO and nobody else really is, right? Like look at Jason Tatum. Isolation 21% of the time, and nobody else really was during the regular season. If you change this to the playoffs, it's even more for Tatum, right? He's in ISO, still 19% of the time. I lied to you, my bad. So either way, for Tatum, and he's more ISO. That's where they're the worst, is the ISO ball, because they don't help off. But Jaylen Brown wants to get his points in transition, and he's spotting up a good amount too. There's been some more ISO for him. He's way more consistent than Kyrie, man. If this bet is available like every game, then you might as well keep going. Yeah, JB is so much better right now in terms of just like being more of a go-to guy for this team. Kyrie's honestly just like, the way I've described Kyrie lately is like, if you remember Thunder and Lightning on the Giants in football, right? It's like, and there's still a lot of that. Like you have a big bruising back that comes in and just wears this team down. And then after the other team is just tired of getting hit, you bring in the fast dude. And then he just goes off like Ahmad Bradshaw and Ron Dane and all those dudes for the Giants, right? It's the same kind of stuff here. Okay, yeah, we can get into MLB. I'm gonna be doing MLB with Oaks, by the way. I know I'm interrupting myself, but whatever. Cody, I'm gonna be doing MLB with Oaks, who's been throwing some stuff in the Discord for everybody too, with some really good winners. So we're gonna be doing a live together for MLB and kind of showing you guys what we're looking at and how we're making those bets. So we'll be doing a little bit of both. Like I said, MLB twice a week, WNBA 2 to 3 times a week, and then keep it going that way. But yeah. All right, let me finish it up and I'll answer your question here in a minute too. Blue Mamba. Let me get rid of some of this stuff on the upcoming. And I'm not going to lie to y'all. I need to grab one more thing. Give me 1 second. And then I'm going to get into a couple more things with y'all because there's some good questions coming in the chat. All right, and we move. Yeah, I still do like that. Let me finish up these head-to-heads though. I that's not sticking out to me. I've honestly been trying to stick to the stuff where I'm like, well, this is off for both players, to be honest. Like this right here, this is wrong to me. Daniel Gafford at minus 0.5 should be a little bit higher than Al Horford on the rebounds, to be honest with you. I think that's going to be a lot more of his job than Al's job in terms of the rebounding category. This is a toss-up as well. Tatum and Luka, I don't like that on the rebounds. See, Luka at minus 3.5 versus Al. And then Tatum minus 4.5 versus Gafford. I like Gafford over Al up here. This is a bet for me. This is the Gafford to get one more rebound than Al Horford. Looking at, I mean, Al's going to lose some of those minutes. That was one thing, was Al Horford with and without Porzingis this season. Actually, did that matter that much? On the rebounds, it only mattered a little bit. So what we're saying is like Gafford would have to get 7 boards and Al's likely to get 6, which means we would have to take Gafford on the rebounds. But I still like it a lot more for some reason in this one right here. I think that's a bet for me, to be honest with you. Yeah. And Mike's a supporter of the of Jaylen Brown over Kyrie. I think you got to play that just because of the consistent numbers. So I agree with that. You got to play that for sure. Yeah. Let me see real quick. Yeah, for sure. I like that. And there was some other head-to-head stuff I wanted to look at. Over combined Kyrie and JB, if you like the Kyrie to go off. Yeah, that's fair. What was their total on the points right there? 46.5. Yeah. That's gonna be right at it. It's a stay away from me because of Kyrie's inconsistency. Like the only way I want to play Kyrie is just to get the 30 for the good number. You know what I mean? Appreciate it. Yeah, that was my bad. Hey, what's good, buddy? Good to have you in here, bro. Glad we got a good time for Buddy, man. Yeah, check out Buddy's channel too. Our guy cooks up some pretty fire SGPs out there in the Discord. What are we looking at real quick? Blue Mamba was talking about someone in Dallas. So you were talking about PJ Can. Yeah, okay. So that's what you were looking at, was 20 plus for somebody in there. Let's see. We playing Lively. Yeah, no, I stayed away from that. I'm gonna keep looking at stuff throughout this week, y'all. So I think we're coming to a close here in a minute because I'm gonna keep looking at things. I want to save some stuff as well. I got a bunch of leans in here. We found a couple bets. And Josh Green, something we can look at, but I think, we got a lot of time in here. So I want to save a few of these things. I just want to finish up with these head-to-head things real quick and kind of go from there. If I'm playing Kyrie, once again, I'm playing I like the 30 plus that's on the bottom line. I want to keep it to that and like not get too crazy with Kyrie in game 1. But if you're going to take him in game 1, I'm going to take him to go off. But I don't want to have a lot of exposure where I'm like, now I'm taking Kyrie over Jaylen Brown or whatever. I think you consistently play Jaylen Brown over Kyrie in this exact situation throughout the series. Like, Jaylen Brown's ceiling and Kyrie's ceiling, maybe Kyrie's ceiling is a little bit higher. Jaylen Brown's floor much higher than Kyrie. That's the best way to phrase it to y'all. Is like, I don't see Jaylen Brown getting less than 18 to 20 points very often in this series at all. Kyrie, would it shock anybody if he goes for 14 again? Like, no. If he goes 6 for 18 and doesn't hit any threes, it's a 15-point game right there. 12, and then maybe he gets a couple of free throws, whatever. But like, Kyrie's floor is well below Jaylen Brown's. Jaylen Brown's more important to that team, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah. So that's where I'm at. Ooh, that's a good look, Mike. The team total for Boston at 110.5. I think they'll be able to score. I think both teams will be able to score. Like I said, I like the over. So I definitely like both teams on the over on their team total. If you like the team total, Mike, it kind of sounds like you're leaning for the Celtics to win or cover. Tell me if I'm right on that here in game 1 for the C's. The problem with betting the sides and totals all series, y'all, is going to be the volatility of the threes, which is what I keep saying, coming back to. If you look at, I'll just go to regular season. I'm in the NBA stats page. I'm going to scoring, and I'm looking at percentage of field goal attempts from 3. This is playoffs, excuse me. Regular season, Boston 1, Dallas 2. Kings in there as well. Bucks also shoot a ton of threes. Wow, the Grizzlies took most of their shots from 3. That's crazy. Did not expect that. The Cavs took most of their shots from 3. Whoa. Anyway, these two teams, Boston, almost 50% of their shots from deep. That's another good look that I should give out real quick, by the way, before I'm done here, is the under. This is a shout out to Prop Bomb, who, to be fair, was looking at a lot of the Miles Turner stuff that we took from last. Remember the blocks that hit every time for Miles Turner against Boston, under blocks? I think that's the same concept here for Daniel Gafford. One thing I really am glad that I found was you can go to players and you can go to miscellaneous, and this should have blocks against. Boom, right there. If you want to look at who gets blocked the least, and I'll go to regular season. If you look at who gets blocked the least, it's going to be a lot of well, you get my point. You can see blocks against. Like the Celtics get the fewest blocks against them. I think that you can take an under on like a Daniel Gafford blocks. Let's look at that real quick. Just while I'm thinking about it. Whatever. Daniel Gafford's at 1.5 blocks. The under is minus 160 now. Shit. That's crazy. So we lost the juice on the blocks, minus 160, but I don't think he gets this against this squad, honestly. Did he get that against? Yeah, he got 1 in the other game. It was barely any time on the floor, as we know. But you don't get blocks against this squad, honestly. Like they take all their shots from 3. And Al Horford is not going to be shooting a lot of 3s. So I think, yeah, you can go under on Daniel Gafford blocks at 1.5. I think that's like a similar look to the Miles Turner blocks. Hell yeah. I tailed somebody who gave me Oilers to win the series at like a really good number. So I hope that hits for hockey. I can't name you a single player other than Drysdale and Hyman. And Hyman's good, but I know him because his name is Hyman. And it's really funny to be able to yell Hyman when he gets a goal, right? All right. Derek White blocks is always a good bet, except for who's he blocking? Kyrie in this situation, like Derek Jones Jr. I don't think it's the same look for Derek White where he's guarding a guy like Tyrese Halliburton, which he can get blocks on a guy like Tyrese Halliburton. So yeah, keep that in mind. I'm not totally sure about the Derek White blocks anymore in this one. I know he's been doing that pretty consistently, but I'm all over the place now. I can't remember if there was something else I was looking at specifically. Yeah, did I want to hit that Gafford bet on the rebounds over Al Horford in game 1? Maybe we wait. Maybe Al Horford does still get some good minutes. Like I said, I still think he gets 25 to 28 minutes. That's right. I forgot McDavid's on that team. My bad. That's how shitty I am at hockey. I could name you Hyman and Drysdale because I'm a 4-year-old, but I can't name you Connor McDavid. But I'm surprised I even remembered his first name, to be honest with you. Is Mark Messier still playing? I don't think so. All right, let me wrap with that here, y'all. I think we got some good looks in. But yeah, that's a good point. The Gafford blocks is a good parlay piece. There's a lot. So let's jump in we'll jump in the Discord. We'll be here all week. I'm going to keep getting some more into the WNBA. I'm going to put some stuff together for tomorrow. Then I'm traveling on Tuesday and then back on Wednesday with some more W and stuff like that. And then Thursday, we're coming back with the live for that day and that game. So keep that in mind. We got some really good looks here in this one. I'm appreciative to have you guys in here because that way we can kind of keep these looks going. Everything that's been on the bottom line, I'm going to throw into the video. I'm going to jump into the Discord here in a minute so that we can I can give you guys those bets as well. If you're not in the Discord, I'll just quick reminder, jump in there because we have really good looks coming our way from everybody that's in there. So I'm appreciative for everybody that's got these looks in there. There's some people with their own channels. We got sports all over the place. Plus, most importantly for NBA right now, we got a lot of looks coming our way from everybody in there. So jump in there. Also, if you need Outlier, you can get 7 days free for this thing right now. If you jump in the description of the video, I got the link in there for you guys to get in there and use that link to just get 7 free days of Outlier. And I've also got the same concept for a couple of things, so you can check out all the partnerships and everything in the Discord and the links of the descriptions of the video, all that stuff. But appreciate y'all. Like I said, I'll be going live again for W and MLB, hopefully very soon for MLB. For W, I want to start jumping into it because I have been watching these games and getting a bit more of a feel so I can finally feel like I know what I'm talking about and not just watching NBA every single day has been very helpful. So appreciate you all, man. Let me know whatever else you guys want to talk about in that Discord. Hit me at JL Boogie in there and I'll come call in and hopefully answer whatever questions you have. So gamble responsibly. Talk to you tomorrow about the WNBA. And until I do, happy betting.